What's up, everybody? I'm Metal Nick,
I'm Jeff Grindstoffer.
and welcome to episode number 15 of Vinyl Bang. We are talking about the year 1994.
Yeah, 1994 was a pretty big year all around for a lot of music.
Huge year.
Huge year for music, both good and bad. To start things off on a solemn note, 94, of course, was the year that we lost Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
Seventh
grade, that was tough.
That was tough, dude. I remember exactly where I was when I found out that Kurt had died. I was traumatized, dude. It tore me up pretty bad.
Yeah,
it was a rough one
for sure. But a lot of good music came out that year. I mean, a lot of good music. There's albums that I wish I owned on vinyl that I could talk about in this episode because I wanted to delay this episode for so long. But like every time I look up specific albums, they're just
ridiculously.
Yeah. I'm not a millionaire.
No. Whenever I was going through and researching albums that came out in '94, I was like, "Ooh, this one and this one and this one and this one." Came up with like 30 or 40, and I was like, "I own 10."
Yeah.
On vinyl. Like, damn it! Like, what's wrong with me? Like, I need to.
Yeah, no, exactly. When you sent me that original list, and I was looking through, and I was like, I only own a couple. I was like, no, I know, I own a couple of these. So
yeah.
But yeah, 1994, great year. A lot of good albums came out. I remember going into the 8th grade, liking a lot of these records that I'm seeing on this list. So, Jeff, do you want to start this off?
Sure, I will start off. Just a fair warning. This is probably the most unprepared I've been since the beginning of the show, but we'll wing it. We'll get through this together. It'll be fun. The first album that I'm going to go with is one of the albums that I bought whenever I went to Target for whatever ungodly reason. I bought Weezer's first debut album, known as the Blue Album, from Target. It is on a blue and white marbled pressing, and it's a pretty good sounding record. Like, I played this as soon as I got home, just because it holds so many memories, and just such a good record, dude. I mean, this is a really, really good album. I wasn't so much a fan. Like, this probably could have been a discussion for the debut sophomore episodes, because like I was not a huge fan of Pinkerton. It had a couple good ones, but overall it did not stand up to this album at all. At all. This was I don't even know which pressing this was as far as official pressings of the Blue Album, but what an album. There was one point where who was it? Weekend Nachos covered In the Garage. I want to say, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I have they did a 7-inch.
Yeah, they did a 7-inch of Weezer covers. They did Only in Dreams. I can't remember what else. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look, but
I'm looking.
Are you? It was cool, and they did it true to form. I mean, they did it. They didn't make it, Weekend Nachos-esque. They did an actual true to form Weezer, which was really cool.
They did Tired of Sex and In the Garage.
Okay, so another song from Pinkerton, Tired of Sex, which, whatever. Good for them.
Yeah.
As far as this album, like the band is doing a, I guess, 30th anniversary tour later this year in September, where they're going to be playing this album in its entirety, and I am tempted to go see them perform this album in its entirety from front to back, just because, like I said, it was one of my favorite albums growing up as a teenager, and it would be fun to see them perform it live. I've never seen Weezer. Never saw Weezer live. You?
No, I remember working at Tower Records when the Green album came out, and they did a in store, at the Tower Records in DC, and one of my friends went and worked that security, and I think they signed like some, I don't know what it was they signed for. Maybe it was like a skateboard or something. But yeah, I never was a big Weezer fan. I always like appreciated like Buddy Holly and the Sweater Song, and what was the other one?
Say It Ain't So.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think they were kind of a hype man for me, but well, okay. We kind of discussed this before the episode started, but after Kurt Cobain died, I felt like there were a lot of like alternative bands that were just getting signed. Like people were trying to fill that Nirvana void. Now, they're not one of those bands. I think they were around the same time. Like I'm pretty sure they were a band existing when Nirvana was existing, and then Kurt died, and then Buddy Holly like blew up. I believe that was help me out. What's the dude's name? He did the Sabotage video.
Spike Jones.
Spike Jones did that music video, and it was shot like Happy Days.
Like Happy Days.
Yeah, and I remember
they even had scenes from the show. They just kind of superimposed them into that. I'm not even going to act like I know anything from Happy Days, but like Archie's, I think.
Yeah, I guess that was it. Yeah, I watched that show when I was a kid because
when I was a kid, yeah,
it was on, and like everybody loved the Fonz, and
sure,
Ron Howard was pretty funny. But yeah, no, Weezer. I mean, no disrespect to them. They were a huge band. They're a cult band. I mean, people fucking love that band. And I think Africa by Toto, and
right.
on and on. They're a successful band. No disrespect. They made it big somehow. They just weren't for me.
Sure. And like I said, after that album, I kind of like Pinkerton was at its moments, but after that,
I never listened to that album. People told me that was heavier than the Blue record.
I don't know if it was heavier. It didn't have as many, like nothing caught on with me, I guess, the same way that the Blue album did.
Sure.
But it's probably like I was setting expectations too high. Like I was trying to, make it the Blue album part 2, and it wasn't. And
I got you.
Didn't sound right. So, oh well.
Yeah.
Life goes on. That Weezer.
They don't need your money anymore.
They don't need me anyway. Who cares?
All right. My first record from the year 1994, which is an album I actually talked about in the last episode, but I'm going to show you a different pressing, is Alice in Chains, Jar of Flies. This was recently repressed, and this version is the one that came with Sap, but I'm not going to show you. Here you go. This one came with like
with the etching, yeah.
This was a great record. I Stay Away. I remember being at the beach, seeing that music video for the first time with the claymation and everything. No Excuses, Nutshell. I mean, like this album in a whole is just it's incredible. I know I talked so much about it in the last episode because I just got the remastering repressing of it. But yeah, I really do like this album a lot. This band especially, they were like, as far as like the big four from grunge, the one that did it for me the most. Like they still continue to put out new music to this day, despite they're one of their most important members passing away. But yeah, Alice in Chains fucking rules.
Agreed.
This was an acoustic EP, by the way. Like it wasn't a full length, it was an EP, and it was an acoustic. They did that every couple albums, an acoustic EP. Sap was an acoustic EP. And then they did the Unplugged after that, and then they were,
and that was it.
Yeah, for a while. I don't think they've done anything since they reunited with William on vocals, but
I don't know. I honestly,
I have to point that out because that was a really cool concept. Bands weren't doing stuff like that back then. Every other album was an EP, and it was an acoustic album, and anybody could do it. Alice in Chains was a great band to do it. Like, we'll talk about this later when we talk about an album that you're going to talk about because of the type of album it is. But yeah, Alice in Chains, man.
Yeah, they that album in particular, like we were discussing off camera, like whenever they did the vinyl, like I've got 2 or 3 pressings of that on vinyl, including the newest one. Like I can't play the record just because it starts off with Nutshell, and I haven't heard Nutshell since my buddy Nate Brady's funeral. It's an album that I grew up with. I grew up with Alice in Chains, and I love that EP. I just have never put the vinyl on because of Nutshell. But yeah, you're right. It's phenomenal. Just no excuses. I say
Skip grooves.
Waylon Wasp. I mean, dude, so
If
good.
that first groove, there's a gap, then you can just skip it and start. Just go straight to
I suppose like
I Stay Away is the second song, I believe.
Yeah.
Or is it Brother?
Actually, act like I play records instead of just starting at the edge.
I don't know what the second song on here is. I think it's Brother. I don't remember. Okay. What you got?
All right, my next album is a band that I still follow to this day, and I have become acquaintances with their drummer. I talked to him the other night, actually, but we'll get into that later. This band that released their debut album in 1994, Korn's debut album came out in 1994. And like we were discussing off camera before we started the episode, this is like one of the pioneering nu metal albums.
Yeah, it's the first nu metal album, basically.
It is. This is basically what started the whole nu metal movement, at least mainstream. I'm sure there was other stuff that kind of flew under the radar before this, but this what really put nu metal on the map. This was absolutely the album that brought attention to the nu metal movement, and it's still a great album. Still is a great album. They're going to play a show in California where they're doing this album in its entirety, and I would like to go, but I'm not. No. Don't like it. They did a tour a couple of years ago where they were playing it every night. But anyway, I mean, shit
with
like
the exception of a certain song.
With that one.
No, the very last song on it. They don't.
Oh, the last one. Yeah, they're not going to do Daddy live.
They don't play Daddy live. Yeah,
that would just be weird and awkward.
They do that song "Kill You," and he has that little meltdown at the end of that song.
Live?
Uh-huh.
Huh. And here I didn't think I would learn anything today.
Go look it up.
Oh, I will.
I mean, they did it in like 96, 97. I'm sure he doesn't do it anymore. I feel like he's probably over all that stuff.
Probably. But yeah, 94 first Korn album, and dude, I mean, it's Ball Tongue is
Ball Tongue. Yes.
So good,
dude. That part at the end where Head is screaming. I love that dude. Like I had a friend who used to say that Head should have been the vocalist for Korn because he had a very, very cool scream.
He does.
So I'm glad.
I would like Helmet in the Bush. Like,
yeah.
I would really like to see Helmet in the Bush perform live. Like that would be ripping. You know,
everything about that record. I mean, like that little intro on Korn where they're like acting like they're like rehearsing it or fucking up and shit, and then they mentioned that song Twist and
yeah, look at Twist. Wish we could put Twist on the record. You want to hear it? Fuck you.
Yeah, that little skit they do before that song starts. That's fun. And I think I mentioned it before when I was like in the 10th grade when after my father passed away, I used to hang out with these girls after school and we would watch that Who Then Now music video a lot. They love that shit.
The VHS, yeah, I had that.
Yeah, they love that shit. I used to loan it to them all the time and never see it for months, but Korn was a big deal. I mean, they were I don't know. I certainly like that album a lot. That and the second one, I remember buying Follow the Leader, but just I think I bought the next three and just drifted away from Korn because they
I think so too. I think actually
it's falling away for me.
We'll go ahead and falling away from you. The history of Korn for me, like the very first episode of South Park that I ever watched was because of Korn. the very first episode of South Park. Like growing up, we didn't have satellite in the small hick town that I grew up in, and there was a buddy of mine. His dad had a satellite, and we went over to his house, and I watched South Park for the very first time because of Korn, because of my infatuation with the band, and that just, you know, Niblet. The episode with Niblet, like where the Korn's groovy mystery. That was a fun episode.
That was a big year for them when they did Woodstock. They did that. They put out that album. They had fans design their album cover. I mean, like they were on top of the world. They were huge. I remember being like in the 10th grade, like loving that band, and then the next thing you know, like they were in this another stratosphere. And I think Woodstock was like, they even say that was like the biggest show they ever played in their lives. Mm-hmm. So good for them, man.
Absolutely. Like,
still respect the shit out of Korn. Like, even if I don't even care for anything after the second record. I still think they're a fucking great metal band. They bring a lot of people to the table when it comes to listening to metal, and you know, I can't hate on that. You know, I remember seeing them all backstage at one of the Mayhem Fests I was at. And they were so nice to everybody, like Head, Fieldy, and Monkey. They were like shaking everyone's hands and posing for pictures. And,
yeah,
good shit.
Yeah. I've hung out with them a couple times in the recent years, and they're always great guys. They're a great band for sure. Very humble, very very personable.
That's awesome.
Good guys.
Very jealous. All right. All right. My next one, 94. What a fucking year, huh? This album made a huge splash in 94, I believe. I remember, again, being at the beach. It's probably around the same time that I saw the music video for I Stay Away. I remember seeing the music video for Sabotage and just being like, what the fuck, dude? The Beastie Boys are fucking crazy. Like, Ill Communication came out in 1994. This was, you know, this might have been their most popular. I don't know, Hello Nasty, maybe, but like this blew them up. Like, when Kurt Cobain died, Nirvana was supposed to headline Lollapalooza that year, so Beastie Boys took their slot, and Smashing Pumpkins ended up being the headliner, which most people will tell you Beastie Boys should have headlined that year because they fucking stole that show. But this is an original pressing of Ill Communication. It's came out on Grand Royal and Capitol Records. This is a clear green.
Very nice. Very nice.
Here's the thing. When they repressed this album on CD and vinyl and everything, there's a song on this record called B-Boy Making with the Freak Freak. I believe it's the second track. It might be the third one. I'm going to open this thing up.
Shit. If it's going to be that kind of party, I'm going to stick my dick in the mashed potatoes.
Exactly, that song. How about that fucking center work?
That's awesome.
It's the third track. B-Boys Making with the Freak Freak. The intro on here got removed because it was a voicemail from some French girl. And she says something in French, and then she goes, she says, this is Stephanie, whatever. I hope you learn to speak French soon because I was just talking crazy bullshit about you 1 second ago. And I still don't know what it is she said. I need to, if somebody knows what she says, put it in the comments in this video. But that got taken out. And then when To the Five Boroughs came out in 2004, on the first vinyl pressing of that album, they put that intro back in before the song The Brouhaha. So moving on, this was a great record. I think Sabotage, Sure Shot, Root Down. My personal favorite is a song with Biz Markie called Do It. There's a couple punk tracks on here, Tough Guy and Heart Attack Man. Transitions, that's one of their jazzy loungy songs. Sabrosa. Man, there's a lot of shit on this record. Flute Loop. What's the song with Get It Together with Q-Tip?
Get It Together with Q-Tip, dude. Yeah. Yes, that's the best.
Ricky's Theme. There's a song on there called Shambhala, which appears in an episode of Breaking Bad. Beastie Boys get the fuck around. This is the back of the record. I'm going to show you another record I got later. A lot of bands kind of did these like collage themes. I like that. But Ill Communication, not my favorite Beastie Boys album, but it's a banger. It's a good record. There's some really cool stuff on this one. Like I said, 2 punk songs. Really cool shit. I my love for the Beastie Boys. They are without a doubt one of the greatest groups of all time, and
Agreed.
happy to own an OG pressing of this album because this is, like I said, a very important, popular album that a lot of people seem to like. It just blew them up, I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I have heard
After
all the
people
songs.
forgot about them for many years, like they weren't shit before this. No,
I didn't realize that. I mean, I've heard the album plenty, and I own the album, but I didn't realize that all of those songs were. I thought a couple of them were on Check Your Head. Like, I didn't realize that they were all just packed into that album. But yeah, there are a lot of good fucking songs on that album.
mm-hmm.
A lot.
Yeah, they. I mean, you're right. It's almost like nonstop. They just, and that's great. Good for them because they're a good band that they produce good albums. They use the same producer from I guess he helped engineer Paul's Boutique, and then from like that from Check Your Head on Mario C did all the producing and engineering for them. But yeah, Beastie Boys.
Mario C likes to keep it clean.
There you go. They mention him in quite a few songs.
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely.
Like in the beginning of So What You Want, you can hear they say something about him. Yeah, they always talk about Mario C. Like they talk
Mario
about
C. Absolutely.
Ricky Powell and Dave Silkin, all their friends. All right, moving on.
Oh yeah. All right. My next album, to kind of go along with the whole Lollapalooza thing, I don't know, the kind of like the different side of not rock or new metal, the different aspect of 94. Beck, Mellow Gold. Loser, like, okay, whenever I first heard Loser, like, it was just completely different from anything else I had ever heard. And I got the album on cassette, I believe, or CD, wherever it was. And I didn't stop listening to this for months. It is such a good album, such a great album. And I didn't realize that until I was doing research for this episode, but he put out 2 other albums that year. He put out Stereopathic Soul Manure, I think is the name of it, and One Foot in the Grave. 3 albums in the year 1994, and this is the only one that really took off for whatever reason. I mean, the other ones are they're different. There's you almost have to have like an acquired ear to listen to a lot of Beck's other stuff because it's just kind of noise and very, very experimental. This particular pressing was originally, this album was pressed by a record label called Bong Load Records, and this particular pressing was done by Bong Load Custom Records. Which I mean, the labels and everything look exactly the same, but I don't know if like Bong Load just kind of got more money and they decided to go with custom. But yeah, Bong Load Custom Records.
What's a
I
bong?
get why you're laughing now. I get.
I don't know what you're talking about, Jeff.
Yeah, this is it's transparent. I think I can kind of see through it. A very marbled.
I can see your shadow through it.
Yeah, it's a very marbled, transparent, almost transparent thing. If you truly believe,
but that's official, yeah.
You can see through this record. Yeah.
All right, cool.
I mean, as far as I can tell, besides not being a regular,
transparent it is, buddy.
Bong Load, and it doesn't look pink. I'm so happy I have a record that doesn't look pink on camera. Yeah, this was like I said, originally pressed by Bong Load and then repressed by Bong Load Custom. Such a good album, dude. I mean, the truck driving neighbors downstairs, Soul Sucking Jerk, Pay No Mind, Nightmare Hippie Girl. Dude, such a good album. I remember a few years ago in Kansas City, I forget who Cattle Decapitation was on tour with, But there was a record store that used to be, or that still is there, I guess. It was across the street from what used to be the Riot Room in Kansas City, and Cato was playing a show there that night. I met up with, or I text Travis whenever I got to town. He said I'm at the record store across the street, and he comes running out with a copy of that on vinyl, and I'm like, "Holy shit, dude! You found Mellow Gold?" And he's like, "Don't touch it, don't touch me." Like he was holding on to it with dear life. Like he was, stoked that he found it on vinyl, and I was like, I don't blame you, dude. Like that is a killer find to find at a record store. But yeah,
I never. I think I owned the single for Loser, and it had a song called Alcohol on it. I don't know if that's on the record or not. But no, I could never. That's another one. Like when Kurt Cobain died, there was a lot of stuff that was coming out that felt like trying to fill that gap of like that void of but they were I remember being in the 7th grade and seeing that music video and everything for Loser, and he was a big deal. That song was a huge hit. It was like on MTV like every 45 minutes, and it was on the radio all the time. But like they were that song, I don't know what the rest of that record sounds like, but that song had that like grungy alternative sound. And then what came after that? Devil's Haircut or like Odelay. I remember the next thing he put out, and whatever hits there was like maybe like Where It's At, that song.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't sound anything like Loser, and I was like, and someone came to me and said, he doesn't like replicate himself. He just, he's a very unique. And I was like, all right, cool, and I could understand that. I thought he was like one of those like fill in the void,
like a folk singer.
Huh?
Because of Loser, you thought he was like a folk singer?
No, I just thought he was kind of like an alternative-y grunge guy.
Oh.
I mean, that music video, his haircut, the way in the time of the chimpanzees, there was a monkey. Just like that song sounded like an alternative song. I mean, like the guitar and everything. It was just, It was one of those catchy songs that MTV played all the time. So it was easy for a young kid for me to capture my attention as a young kid. But like, I didn't think I wanted to buy his entire album. I didn't know if I was really ready to give it a shot. But yeah. Someone told me it's not nothing sounds like that one song.
Mm, no,
so
the next time you come to my house, the next time you come to Missouri to stay at my house, we're playing that record. Yeah. I'm making you listen to Mellow Gold because it's a really great album. And after Odelay, like I kind of fell out of him too for a long time, and then several years later, I went to Planet Score Records, I think for Record Store Day, I was hanging out with Jameson. I just wanted to go to a record store, but they were playing Guero. I always mispronounce this album, but they were playing it in the store, and I said, "What album is this?" Because I knew it was Beck. I mean, you could tell it was Beck's voice. I just didn't know what album it was, and that album, listening to it in the record store, got me back into it. Like I went back and started listening to stuff that I had neglected over the years. But man, what an artist! He's really good. He's really
good. That's what I was to understand. He writes in all of his music, so like he's not some fucking flash in the pan, which was cool but it's just not for me.
Sure.
All right.
All right. What do you got next?
In the year 1994. So, I guess it was in the 8th grade, but this album did come out in 94. But I remember I was in the 8th grade when this album really broke and like every fucking hit was coming out. Bush, 16 Stone. I actually saw them live a couple years ago with Alice in Chains, and yeah, I mean, it looked like he had a totally different band from what was in all these music videos back then, but this was a cool record. My sister really liked this band a lot. Everything Zen, Little Things, Come Down, Machine Head, Glycerine. Yeah, that is on this record. I couldn't remember. There were a lot of hits on this album. This was on Interscope and Trauma Records. Trauma. Yeah, Trauma. Clear.
Nice.
Um,
Clear-ish.
collage of photos like that last Beastie Boys record. Yeah, that was a thing in '94. Everybody was doing that, and then look at these fine young gentlemen sitting on there. And some people may not know, but Gavin Rossdale here, he married Famous, and I guess that didn't end well, but
no, married
but,
Famous for a while.
I remember this. So there was like a famous radio music festival that would come to DC every year. That would happen in DC every year, called the HF Festival. WHFS would put on this radio fest, and one year Primus played and Bush played, and yeah, Bush headlined that year, I believe. But they were fucking huge, man. Like I said, they had a lot of hits off this record. This was a cool album. It wasn't like one of the greater ones in '94, but I guess he was British. They were British, or he's British. I don't know. He's got a British accent, but yeah, man, I like this album. It was a good rock album. I guess, yeah, this was after Nirvana for me. So like, it was one of those like, yeah, let me get this record and see what it was like, and I liked it. There was a ton of good stuff on it, and yeah, like I said, Man Married Famous. We all know how that ended.
He was really good in Constantine.
He was in that movie. Mm-hmm. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, dude, he's really good. He was a really good actor, and I mean, I don't know if he's done anything since, but that album, like, I mean, growing up, like, I owned it whenever it came out because it just, I was a big fan of it, and I don't know if it's cynicism or whatever growing up, but I'm not a fan of that band anymore. It's weird. Like whenever they come on, I just kind of like, you know.
No, absolutely. There's a lot of albums that don't stand the test of time.
No,
that's fair.
No. And I mean, there are several, like Soul Asylum for me, just kind of going off on a little tangent. Soul Asylum was one of the first bands I ever saw at my very first concert. And growing up, Grave Dancers Union was everything. I mean, like Black Gold and Somebody to Shove and Runaway Train and all that. And I listened to it a few years ago, and it was just like, ugh. It doesn't hold up. It didn't hold up over the years.
I remember Runaway Train, but they were out around the same time Nirvana was out. And I just felt like Nirvana had so much success in 91, 92, and then Soul Asylum came around, and I felt like they were, I mean, that dude looked like him. I mean, it was weird. They were one of those bands that I felt like the record labels were like, get this scrub ass motherfucker and have him put a guitar on him and make him. And that song was catchy. I remember the music video was all those kids who ran away from home or went missing or whatever. And like, it wasn't like he was he was singing about anything bad. He was trying to help find these kids, I guess.
I don't know. But Somebody to Shove is still like, whenever I hear that song, I fucking love that song. I still love that song. And fun fact, that video was directed by David Fincher. Or no, not David Fincher, Zack Snyder. Who's done all the, the Justice League and, Zack Snyder.
Okay.
I think it was his first directing thing. Was he directed
Soul Asylum?
Soul Asylum, Somebody to Shove.
Well, going back to Bush real quick, their follow-up album was called Razor Blade Suitcase. And there was a music video, there was a single on there called Greedy Fly. And I remember that music video was fucking awesome. It was almost like a horror movie.
I remember that.
Yeah. Go look it up sometime. Shit.
Yeah.
They had that. I can't remember what they had two hits off that record, but that one I thought was pretty cool. Swallowed was the other one.
Swallowed. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, I whenever Melanie and I go on trips, we listen to Lithium. We listen to the Lithium channel on Sirius, and they always play everything from 16 Stone. Like they played all of the songs you listed from 16 Stone. Yeah. I think it's another thing. It's just like they did so much other shit, like play something else from Bush.
Do yourself a favor and look them up playing Swallowed at Woodstock '99. Pretty epic. Pretty fucking epic. That dude knew how to control a crowd, but they went on after Korn at Woodstock. Imagine having to follow that act.
Oh, I don't see how
he talks about it. I know he's talked about it. He was like, that was tough. That was really rough for me. But like That motherfucker went on there, took his shirt off, and fucking performed in the rain for those people. I think.
Oh, took
Or
his
no, that
shirt
was a
off.
different thing. But he did his thing. He did his thing, and fucking.
Sure.
Anyways, moving on.
Moving on.
You're next.
Moving on from.
We're talking too much about 1994. What year did the next album you're talking about come out, Jeff?
Oh, what was this? 92? 93? 1994, Soundgarden, Super Unknown.
Oh man.
Oh, what an album. What a fucking album, dude. Like, okay, when I first discovered Soundgarden, it was with Bad Motorfinger. It was a video for
Outshined.
Outshined, yeah.
First time
and
I ever heard of them.
Rusty Cage followed, and Rusty Cage is just, I mean, still just such a good song. That album itself is great. Super Unknown introduced me to doom metal, and I will believe this for as long as I'm alive. The song "4th of July" is a very, very doom song. Like, it just they introduced me, unbeknownst to me, in 1994. Until I started getting into slower, doomier bands later on. But I mean, like, did all my interest in the slower metal came from the song "4th of July."
Mm-hmm.
And just this album is so good. I remember James Watson was telling us that it's his favorite album of all time.
Yeah.
And it is good. It is damn good. I mean, the title track, Head Down, Spoon Man, The Day I Tried to Live, Kickstand, all of it. Dude, it's so good. And this is a 20th anniversary repress. I bought it in 2014 from Amoeba Records in Los Angeles. And it has a bonus track on it, She Likes Surprises, which is fun. A bonus track. That did not come out in 1994.
Well, I'm looking at our list here, and we've talked about 3 of the 4 big grunge bands in this episode, Jeff. We're gonna.
That means there's room for one more.
All right.
Dun dun dun. No, we're not going to do the other one. That's all right. We'll leave them out of it. But yeah,
I'm not even a fan of that jam, anyways.
Yeah, they had their moments. I fell out of them after Vitalogy, which was in like 1982, so I don't even care. But but yeah, Soundgarden, Super Unknown is a phenomenal album, and I really want this shirt. I really want this design on a shirt so bad. I want this cover. If anybody's looking for birthday presents for me this year, I would like to have this on a shirt. Melanie's flipping me off, telling people to quit buying me shirts.
Yeah. He owns too many shirts. People
stop. I own too many shirts, but yeah.
No, that's a great album. I remember going into the 8th grade, and I think I was at the beach that summer, and I saw the music video for Black Hole Sun. It's just like, what the fuck, man? Like, that sounded nothing like Outshined or the Jesus Christ Pose or Rusty Cage or any of that stuff. Like, they were, they progressed their sound big time, and that album was really cool. Like, my sister owned it. I don't think I ever bought it, but I remember listening to that album a lot. And The Day I Tried to Live, man, what a fucking song. I mean, like, his voice and everything in that song isn't what else is on that album? It's Spoon Man. I have a lot of trendy friends who on 4th of July like to post that song 4th of July on Facebook. But
it's Melanie's birthday. She likes that song.
Yeah.
4th of July.
But shout out to James Watson. Yeah, I remember him talking about that. He's got an orange pressing of it, I believe, an OG pressing.
An OG orange press. Yeah, which resembles the
Vinyl Bang alumni and friend and fan of the show. We love James, and that's he did mention that. I'm glad you brought that up because what a fucking album and what a fucking year in music, right?
What year? 94?
Didn't some giant music festival happen that summer?
Oh no, dude. that was a long that was a long time ago.
All right, so my next one here. I don't know if how I should do this. I can actually, yeah, I can do it like this. Well, that sucks. But no, you'll see in a second.
Unprepared.
No, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't want you to have you to edit anything out of this episode, but Pantera, Far Beyond Driven is probably my favorite Pantera album. It is the best Pantera album. This is the version with the this cover
with the butt.
Yeah,
with the butt.
The screw going into the butt. The
screw going into the butt.
This was actually a gift from Mr. Alex Cha. Shout out to Alex Cha. I hope he still listens to this show. Let's go. Strength Beyond Strength. Becoming 5 Minutes Alone. I'm Broken. Good Friends in a Bottle of Pills. Like the Pantera hip hop song, basically. Hard Lines and Sunken Cheeks, which is a really fucking underrated song. Slaughtered. Jesus.
Dude, Slaughtered.
That's one of those, like, I want to fucking break shit songs. 25 Years. Really cool end to that song. Shedding Skin. Use My Third Arm. Throes of Rejection. And Black Sabbath cover song Planet Caravan.
Yes.
This was this was the best Pantera album in my opinion. I know a lot of people like Vulgar Display of Power or but 94. I mean, this album came out. This was the very first metal album to debut on the Billboard charts at number 1. And Pantera blew the fuck up. I mean, like, they did a lot of shit after this. I mean, those home videos were fucking incredible to watch and fun as shit to watch. But yeah, I also own a Chab went to some thrift store and bought Far Beyond Driven on CD, and he opened it up and it was signed by the entire band, and he framed it and gave it to me for my birthday one year. Which I still have it laying around. But I've met them all and gotten shit signed by them all personally at one point. And but that was still cool as fuck of him. You know, Chaw's an awesome dude. Shout out to Alex Chaw. But yeah, Pantera, one of my favorite bands as a teenager. Just, you know, this album rips from start to fucking finish. The second it starts, you're just like, oh shit, you know, like.
Agreed.
Yeah, I can't talk enough great things about this record because it fucking rules.
Agreed. Yeah, I got into them with Vulgar. I think it was the video for Walk or Mouth for War or whatever it was that was on Headbangers Ball at the time. And even like fucking Hostile was, you know, part of the intro, you know, for Headbangers Ball. But yeah, Far Beyond Driven is absolutely a dude. Slaughtered. God, that's such a good song.
Last time I saw Pantera live, they played that song, and I remember being right in front of Dime when, like, you know, he started kicking in. I was like, oh, like, I couldn't believe they were playing it. So
yeah.
I mean, he just what a fucking banger of an album, right?
Agreed. Yeah. 5 Minutes Alone and just. Again, Slaughtered, just the galloping drums at the end.
I mean,
God, so good.
1994, what a year, huh?
What a year.
Some powerful fucking albums. We got to do a part 2 of this episode at some point.
1994 part 2. 1994 part 12.
I mean,
the Chronicles of 1994.
I mean, there were a couple albums that I thought came out in 94, and then I'm looking and I guess they didn't. Like I thought Doggy Style came out in 94, and that was Christmas of 93.
Yeah.
I remember that because it was like a lot of people were getting I got that and the Beavis and Butthead Experience for Christmas in 93.
I remember getting Beavis and Butthead Experience for Christmas. Yeah, I was pissed when I was doing research because I looked up Primus and Pork Soda came out in 93 and Tales from the Punch Bowl came out in 95. And I'm like, God damn it. That was so close. Both of them. Either one of them would have been awesome, but it had to be 93 or 95. You know.
I remember Tales from the Punch Bowl coming out. I went and bought that. Yeah. They were on a show called Super Rock on MTV, and Les took them for like a tour of his home, and he had like a little pond in his house where he went fishing, and he kept catching fish, and he had names for every one of them. And
I remember that.
he had the world's first bass banjo,
Oh,
but he was talking about the music video for Wynonna's Big Brown Beaver and how they're going to feature those fucking characters from the Duracell commercials. Or the Energizer. Yeah. And I remember like months later coming out and being like, oh my God, he wasn't kidding. He knew some people. So,
yeah.
Who went last? You just did Soundgarden. Okay, my turn. My last record, right?
No, you just did Pantera.
Oh, I did, didn't I?
Bong Load Custom Records, kids.
It's been a long day at work. It has been a long day at work. Give me a fucking break.
Work. I mean, look how the man's dressed, for God's sakes. I mean, yeah, he's had a rough day. I'm on both sides of the screen tonight, kids.
Oh my God.
Rough day for Nick. Oh, and we don't.
No, what's wrong with us tonight?
We just now got the banner. Start over. We gotta fucking do the whole episode over.
we definitely rushed into tonight's episode. We
did. Tonight was last minute, very, very last minute. Like, we decided yesterday what we were doing.
We literally did. Yeah.
Very last minute, but it's turned out well so far. 1989 was a good year for albums, so we're doing well. All right, my last episode. Good God, my last album for this episode is a great one. Is an absolute monument record for me. Nirvana Unplugged in New York. For just to take a moment, this album, this video, this DVD, still it tugs on the heartstrings. It tugs on the heartstrings. The end of Where Did You Sleep Last Night? Every time it gets me every time, and I don't know subliminally if it's because this is the last time that I saw Nirvana play live, because I think that would have been Live and Loud. I think the New Year's Eve thing was actually the last time I saw them perform live, or maybe it was because of the intimacy, the emotion that the band put into this performance. But every time that I hear Where Did You Sleep Last Night, that final howl that Kurt gives, it brings the tears. It absolutely tugs on the heartstrings. But this is a phenomenal album, and this is actually pink, I think.
No way.
Yeah, this is actually pink. No, it's red. Yeah, it's red if you look back here, which of course you're not going to see it because it's all, I have to have a light behind it. But yeah, this was a Christmas present a few years back from Jameson. Jameson bought this for me for Christmas a few years back. And I, again, probably the same day that I bought the Weezer, I bought a Target exclusive opaque purple vinyl of Unplugged in New York. Dude, this thing is so good. There was back whenever I was becoming accustomed to downloading albums on the internet. I found a version of this that has like all of the rehearsals of them rehearsing these songs before they actually filmed the episode for MTV. And it's pretty cool. Like, they do a bunch of songs that they didn't play on Unplugged, and it's really like a really badass thing to hear. But yeah, I love this album. This will always have a very special place in my heart. I own the DVD. I think at one point I owned the VHS, maybe the CD, the cassette, the 8-track, the laser disc, all of it. I just, because this is just an awesome performance, and this might be my favorite Unplugged performance. And I know we were talking about this the other night. Yours is not Nirvana, and for different reasons. But the conversation that we had, I actually like it took a lot of perspective to that because you were wanting. I'll let you say it.
Well,
What your perspective was.
I guess I shouldn't have said. Well, yes, as a young kid, you're expecting to hear like an acoustic version of "Smells Like Teen Spirit." Years later, the way that song flows to the rest of their acoustic songs, obviously they weren't going to play it, and great, rightfully so that they didn't. But my biggest gripe was most of those songs weren't theirs. They were all cover songs. A lot of them were cover songs. I mean, there were Nirvana songs on there. They had a lot of slow, like sad songs on In Utero and on Nevermind, and I guess About a Girl. They opened with that, right? And he said, "This is off our first album. Most people don't own it," which made that album sell like shit.
Oh, yeah.
But it was also like, poor me, nobody owns this record, but bullshit, man. I mean, like it's just. I didn't like it so much because it was mostly there were a lot of cover songs on there. The Alice in Chains one I liked a lot. That was my favorite one because that one, when you talk about tugging the heartstrings, that one right there. I mean, they open with Nutshell on that, and if you ever how they perform, how they open it, it starts off with Jerry just playing, and then like the bass player comes in, and then the drummer comes in, and Lane finally comes in at the end with his, it's a great performance. I think if you watch the VHS or the DVD version of it, they fuck up in Sludge Factory in the beginning a couple times before they
actually get it. Actually,
yeah. But
I remember that.
That was my favorite one. I've it's not like I didn't like the Nirvana Unplugged. I remember getting it and listening to the fuck out of it. And I mean, that the David Bowie cover, a lot of people, they were just in love with that. That was a radio hit for a while for Nirvana.
Sure.
I personally like Jesus Doesn't Want Me for a Sunbeam, which that's the one with the accordion, right?
The accordion, yeah.
Yeah, that one was a weird song, but I think it's by a guy named Leadbelly. But yeah, that was a unique one. They did their thing. Years later, when I go back and listen to it, it's weird. It's I was a huge Nirvana fan. I listened to everything they did, so like hearing that side of them was very different. And I'm sure Kurt wanted to do that. Like he had his. What did he do? What did he do by himself? Was it Dumb?
Penny Royalty.
Penny Royalty. Yeah. Wow. Like. Yeah, there's some great moments on that record, and they certainly delivered. A lot. The world was watching that Unplugged for sure.
Yeah. I was as a teenager, as a 13 or 14-year-old. I mean, I was glued to the TV the night this premiered.
Yeah,
I watched every chance I get.
And a lot of people went and did an Unplugged after that. I think Pearl Jam did. Alice in Chains did. Stone Temple Pilots did.
Yeah,
Led Zeppelin, Kiss.
Well,
it was Jimmy Page.
Unplugged.
Years later. Right, with your favorite Amy Lee of Evanescence. Moving on. My final album of 1994. Very underrated album by a very epic band. This band is not underrated or overrated. This band the hype is real with this fucking band. I, of course, am talking about the band Slayer and Divine Intervention. A lot of people hated this fucking record because it wasn't like wasn't Rain and Blood, it wasn't South of Heaven, it wasn't what was the other one? Hell Awaits. This one was fucking just the fucking drums on this record were so fucking awesome. And this was on American Records. I actually got a Nuclear Blast repress. I don't remember what year the represses of these were. But it's out of, if you could see there.
There you go, 666.
Yeah. So when they put these pre-orders up and they're all on clear. There it goes. Oh, yeah. That's the side you want to see. The guy fucking carved Slayer into his hands. And then when you see the live intrusion video, they show that. And then he pours rubbing alcohol on himself and sets it on fire. Collage. 1990,
Mhm.
the year of collages.
A big
Um,
thing in '94.
the way this album opens, Killing Fields, then there's Sex, Murder, Art, Fictional Reality, Ditto Head, Divine Intervention, Circle of Beliefs, SS3, Serenity and Murder, 213, which is the Jeffrey Dahmer song, Mind Control. This is their first album with Paul Bostaph on drums. I guess Dave Lombardo had left the band when this album came out.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that have this tattooed. Um, yeah, after this, they put out their new metal album, and a lot of people didn't have much to say about that. But I thought this was a cool one. I like Divine Intervention a lot. A couple years ago, Nuclear Blast. I guess they signed Slayer, and they got like the uh, ownership of the masters, or got their hands on the masters of all the other stuff, so they could put stuff out, and they put out all of their albums from American Records on clear vinyl, 666 each. So I got Rain and Blood, Seasons in the Abyss, and the live album. And then I found this later. South of Heaven goes for fucking like 300, $400, which I'm
I'm sure.
never paying for that. But
Right.
I would love to have that one on clear as well with the sticker and all, because the live Decade of Aggression one that I have, it's a low number. I think it's like 52 of 666. So, but yeah, great fucking Slayer album.
For sure. For sure.
It's not like the typical artwork. They changed it up a little here, and yeah, fucking A, man, Slayer.
Yeah. I was my first impression of that album was the video for Ditto Head, and that was that was pretty badass. But you're right, it was a different feel than Seasons and South of Heaven and all that.
Yeah,
it was a good one though. Good one
it
though.
was still thrashy, but it was very like, I don't know. I don't know.
A little different.
Yeah.
A little
Anyways,
different.
so yeah, 1994. That was that. Great fucking year. Like I said, there's tons of albums. I don't own everything that I wanted to put out. Like I said, like Local H is Good as Dead. I'm sure you own like Live Throwing Copper, and
No,
there's a list.
I don't want to.
No,
I don't own that. I need to own Throwing Copper and American Thighs by Veruca Salt and just all kinds of shit that I need to own from '94. But
yeah, you sent me a list there. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
But
I don't even own Dookie. Like I don't know why I don't own Dookie on vinyl, but I don't.
That band sucks.
Dookie's a good album.
It is what it's called, Dookie. No, people. No. I got nothing against Green Day. I just never was a fan of them. But I remember that album coming out, and Basket Case was just everywhere. Mm-hmm. You couldn't turn on the radio or MTV without seeing that fucking music video.
Dude, the thing about Basket Case, a few months back, Sierra and I went to St. Louis to see Pierce the Veil, and the crowd was all, a majority of the crowd was 90% of the crowd was like her age, mid-20s, the kids her age, and between the bands they played, songs over the PA, the house music or whatever, and they played Basket Case in between, like before Pierce the Veil, and the place erupted. Like all of these kids my daughter's age were singing Basket Case word for word, like it was like an anthem. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. And Sierra, I don't think I've ever subjected Sierra to Green Day, so she doesn't know it. But a lot of other kids were singing Basket Case. I was like, well, that's pretty cool, I guess. The kids are listening to good music at least, except for according to Nick, because he doesn't like Green Day.
I saw them one year at the HF Festival, and they they were the second to last band. I think the Crystal Method went on after them, but they brought some fan up on stage and let him play guitar, and they were fucking, at this point I think Insomnia was the latest one. Nimrod was about to come out maybe, but they even after that American Idiot album, that blew them the fuck up. Like they're a huge band, and they're like the godfathers of pop punk. Yeah,
Yeah.
we did it before them. I don't know who else you could say that was doing it before them, but
Rancid, Billy
okay,
Joe's brother.
okay.
I forget the guy's name. Armstrong something. Something
Um,
Armstrong, but yeah, I mean, Rancid was nowhere near the fucking caliber that Green Day
what
got.
is
But
that dude's name? I don't know who you're talking about, but I can't think of.
Tim Armstrong, I think.
I didn't know they were brothers.
Yeah, Billy Joe Armstrong and Tim Armstrong. But anyway, I think they are. I always thought they were. Maybe they're not. They are not of relations. Who knows? Um, yeah, American Idiot. Like I fell out of them before that, so I have that going for me. Whenever they blew up, I no longer listened to them. Whenever they started wearing mascara and shit, I quit listening. I'm done. You know. Can I get an amen?
I mean, I like glam metal, so glam rock. So I can't get down. I can't amen that. Anyways,
Anyway.
so we gotta we're gonna move on to the new shit segment, and I guess there was a trade that went down here between Jeff and I, and
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
were in the middle of recording our
Was it the
sophomore
debut?
debut album episode. I was talking about the Norma Jean album, and and you were so impressed by it that I guess we started talking. I started thinking maybe I could trade something with Jeff with this, but I reached out to our good old buddy Josh Hubbleson, Mr. Keep It Wolf's son, and he sent me this version. You can look; it's a little different from the one that you probably are going to hold up there.
Yeah. So
Look at the eyes are missing, and Josh got this at Furnace Fest, and this came out before that version was released to the public. And it's that. But yeah, I figured let me trade this one with Jeff. And Jeff was sitting there for a while trying to figure out what he could trade with me. But
it's still a cool cover. Like I really like how that's kind of matted.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yours is actually. Oh look. Hold on. Hold yours up. Yeah.
It's like glossy.
And then
Glossy. And yours is not glossy.
No.
Kind of. Or it doesn't have the same. A little bit.
No, it looks a little rougher.
Like matted. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I don't get jealous of Nick's collection very often. I mean, sometimes like he'll post something and I'll say, "Oh, that Dillinger Escape Plan record, that's really cool. I wish I have that," and I do have that. So I'm just no longer jealous of the ironies of Dead Scene. But whenever Nick posted or he was talking about Bless the Martyr, Kiss the Child, I was like, God, I want that album. I want that record, And after the episode was over, I said, "What do you want for that?" And so we made a trade. And I guess maybe now Nick will show, because another album from the debut episode.
Oh yes, yeah. Okay. So Jeff hits me up one day and he's like, "Hey, do you own Bleach by Nirvana?" And I said, "I don't actually." And Jeff sent me this one. This is the Walmart variant, the Moon Gray vinyl, and I got to show this one because this looks cool as shit.
Yeah, definitely a very cool pressing. It almost looks like it's like a wax mage almost.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, actually. Oh shit!
It's like
So yeah, I've never owned Bleach on vinyl. I now own all the Nirvana full lengths on vinyl, and the other one Jeff got me was Ride the Lightning, also a Walmart exclusive, the electric blue vinyl. Let me whip this bad boy out there.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sweet, actually. Yeah, good sophomore album by fucking one of the most legendary bands of all time.
For sure.
Do songs to note: Fight Fire with Fire and Creeping Death. Creeping Death fucking rules. I believe they opened with that the first night we saw them.
I think so.
But
But
yeah,
no, the Bleach I bought 2 copies of. I had an extra copy of it for whatever reason. I guess I had the intention of flipping it one day, which I've never flipped a record. Like I've done that like 4 or 5 times throughout the years, and then I end up keeping it and like selling it for less than what I paid for it because I'm a horrible flipper. I guess it's not in me to take advantage of people. But I had an extra copy of Bleach, and I told Nick, I said, I've got an extra copy of this if you would be willing to, trade this for your Norman Jean. He's like, yeah, blah, blah, we'll see something else down the road. And then like a couple days later, I was at Walmart in town, and I saw that, that they had a copy of Ride the Lightning, and Nick was telling me that he didn't have any of the early Walmart pressings. So I hit him up and I said, hey, do you want Bleach and this copy of Ride the Lightning? He's like, yes, absolutely. So we traded records, and all is well in the world. I now own Norman Jean, Bless the Martyr, Kiss the Child on vinyl. So
thank you, Josh Huddleston. Shout out to Josh for helping that trade go down.
For real, for sure.
Thanks, Josh. Jeff, you want to share the other last new record you got before I splurge this giant collection I've been sitting on for a while?
Oh yeah. The newest vinyl that I've gotten in the mail.
that came out in the year 1994.
It came out in 1994, kids. Look at this. It's a whole new thing. It's going to be part what? It's going to be the first album of part 12 of 1994. This is Nine Inch Nails' Downward Spiral, one of the greatest albums ever written, ever. Life-changing album whenever I was 14. This was recently pressed on, it was part of the Interscope Vinyl Collective. They have a monthly subscription thing where you can subscribe to 1 month or 3 months or 6 months or a year or whatever. And for every month that you pay for, you get a record. You get a limited pressing of whatever album they're doing this month. And they've, in the past, Charles Teague was telling me that they'd done like The Chronic and, a couple other badass albums throughout the years. And I think next they were doing, forget which Eminem album it is. And then the month after that, they're doing like Helmet's Betty, which, it's a very cool concept and it's a cool thing if you want to pay for. But I paid for 1 month and got the April pressing, the April subscription vinyl of Nine Inch Nails' Downward Spiral. This was a pressing of 3000. I got number 631. You can't really see it very well. But yeah, 631 out of 3000, which I'm very happy with. This is the 4th pressing that I have of the Downward Spiral on vinyl. And it's got some extra stuff in it, but I'm not opening it. I don't want to open it. It's like a lithograph and a 12-page book, and it just
all Trent's heroin writings.
Probably. We don't condone drugs on Vinyl Bang.
What?
Sometimes.
All right, let me go through this real quick because I got quite a few records that I've been sitting on for a while that are new, and I don't want to hold everybody's time up. First and foremost, a very important album to me when I was a teenager for sure. I think maybe I was in the 11th grade or whatnot. Yeah, junior in high school. Coal Chamber's first album. This got recently pressed by I don't know who. Oh, Round Hill Records. That's hilarious to me because I have friends who live on a street called Round Hill, and if they're listening to this episode, they know who they are. I'm talking about them. This was on Banana Swirl. This album was fucking great. Loco, Bradley, Big Truck, Sway, that song Pig. There's a lot of cool ones on here. I think Jonathan Davis makes an appearance just talking on the secret track on there. An album that came out in 1994 that Jeff talked about in the sophomore albums that made me go and buy this record, Stone Temple Pilots Purple. Excuse me. This is the clear version of it. I don't remember where I bought this. Bought this off some website because they were advertising it because they must have heard me and Jeff talking about it. There you go. 12 Gracious Melodies. If you had this on CD back in the day, some versions came with like the icing on the cake for the CD, and some versions came with like the dragon scales there. But yeah, my sister was in love with this dude. Scott Weiland. She really did like that dude a lot. Let's see here. Next one I got. This is a anniversary edition of Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. It's got a little Obi strip over here from Get On Down Records. This one's actually really cool looking.
Oh, that is badass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Black and yellow, their colors. I think I talked about this on the box sets episode because I have a 7-inch box set of this, but this is a great fucking record. Bring the Ruckus. I'm not going to
We'll go through the track list.
Protect Your Neck. The Mystery of the Chest Boxing, which is probably my favorite one. Cream, Method Man, Tears, Wu-Tang 7 Chamber. This is a great fucking record. This is a great debut album. This is another one I thought came out in 94, but it actually came out in 1993. This is I just talked about this band and this album. The last time I went record store shopping with Blake, I got a copy of South of Heaven by Slayer. This is a standard black vinyl, but this is a great fucking album. The second track on here, Silent Scream. This song fucking rules. There's Live Undead. I know there's a fucking I think Descendant Aggressor. That's a Judas Priest cover, maybe. One of these songs is a Judas Priest cover. Anyways, I think these are their third album by Slayer. Great fucking album. Mm-hmm. South of Heaven. You should know what that means. And then I talked about this on one episode. Been waiting a while for these to come in, but Iron Dissonance Solace. I got two versions. This one is the Blood Spill. It's I'm not going to pull that one completely out, but that's out of 222. And then this one looks rad as shit.
Oh yeah, dude, that is rad.
Look at this thing, man.
Oh, it's like a gold nugget, like a flake thing, like a
yeah. This was hand poured out of 111. Let me see. Hold on. Somewhere in here, I have the little card.
Certificate of authenticity.
Well, that and it's numbered.
Oh, the card's numbered. 25 out of 111. What's the design? Like, it's hard to.
Total Dissonance Worship is the name of the record label. So that's like his logo there. I'm trying to see. It's right there on the bottom.
Gotcha.
But shout out to Simon Sledge. These turned out fucking awesome, dude. Where did I put it? Yeah, look at that shit.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, that does look awesome.
I think I'm waiting for their third album. I have that on pre-order as well. But yeah, Iron Dissonance is a great band. They were a very underrated band. Oh no, that thing just dropped. Very underrated band. I don't know how many people, if they didn't know about them, you really missed out because they were a techie, proggy death metal band from Montreal, and the guy who sang on the first two albums left to start like a hip hop project, and then they got this guy Kevin to join afterwards, and Kevin was awesome. I like that dude a lot. He's a cool dude. He was a good friend. We hung out a lot. I've seen him with Despised Icon filling in for them a few times too. But yeah, those are the new records I got. I was very happy to get those Iron Dissonance ones because, again, that was a really cool album. Came out on a label called Abacus Records, which they put out a few things. They were like a sub-label of Century Media, and they went under kind of quickly. But they also put out like All Else Failed, This Never Happened, which my buddy Jimmy joined that band after that record came out. Chris Penny played drums on a lot of that album. Chris Penny, ex-Dillinger Escape Plan. But yeah, that's it. That's what I got for as far as my new shit. But
that's definitely some good stuff.
Yeah. But yeah. I guess that is it for episode 15 in the year 1994.
1994, is it? Yeah. Sorry, I just thought of something.
Yeah. What are you looking up there?
Well, I kind of want to date the episode because I read this earlier. Alice in Chains Unplugged was recorded on April 10th, 1996. Today, we were talking about Alice in Chains earlier. Alice in Chains Unplugged. I was like, oh yeah, that's like the anniversary of when it was recorded today
Oh wow, that's
in
today as we're
1996.
recording this episode. Okay,
As
cool.
we were recording the episode, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
You know that we mentioned the Unplugged and Alice in Chains, and you know, just the universe was
for sure.
aligning.
There
Kind
we
of
go.
cool.
Well, thank you everybody for watching this episode of Vinyl Bang.
No, hold on one second. And thank you for doing laundry today and wearing a picture of me on your shirt. Look at that. I'm on both sides of the screen. With my Picture shirt and Grindstone Productions, look at that. I got a big old beard. That's a good looking motherfucker on your shirt. That's me. Really? Dear God. Melanie's bad mouthing me. But yeah.
No, fuck yeah! I knew I had to wear this. I was gonna wear this shirt some episode, and I figured I'm gonna wait a random time and just throw it on and surprise Jeff when we start recording. So yeah,
You done good.
I don't know any Metal Nick production shirts, but I got a Grinds to First production shirt. So
hell yeah.
maybe we'll make some Vinyl Bang stickers.
Dude, I've thought about turn off the cameras. We'll talk about this later on. But yeah, I've thought about it.
All right, everybody. Thank you again for watching, and we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next time.
Yep. See you guys.